Let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer. If you're looking at the tech industry right now and trying to figure out where the real sustainable career growth actually is, well, you are in the perfect place. Today, we're looking directly into the future, specifically the reality of the 2026 landscape for infrastructure and operations. We're going to completely map out what this path looks like, cut through all the noise, and focus purely on where the industry is actually heading. No fluff, just a clear, structured roadmap for anyone looking to navigate the next few years of rapid technological shift.
And we're starting with a number that should grab your absolute undivided attention, 30 to 50%. In the U.S. job market, professionals who combine standard DevOps skills with AI or AIOps competency are earning 30 to 50% more than generalist DevOps roles. The market is speaking incredibly loudly here. It's financially rewarding those who can, say, prevent a multi-million-dollar e-commerce outage using AI-driven automation, long before a human even notices a spike in server traffic. So if you're a focused learner looking for the absolute highest return on your educational investment, this is the premium you want to target.
And it's not just a salary premium for a few lucky folks. It's a massive industry-wide mandate. A staggering 78% of tech leaders are planning to increase their headcount in this specific space. Think about that. Nearly 8 out of 10 decision-makers are actively looking to hire more people who sit right at the intersection of development, operations, and AI. They're expanding their teams because, quite frankly, the sheer complexity of modern software demands it. This isn't a shrinking field. It's a rapidly expanding frontier, and the demand for specialized talent is vastly outpacing the current supply.
Okay, let's dive right into this. What DevOps actually is.
Before we can really master the 2026 landscape, we've got to strip away the buzzwords. DevOps is a practice and a culture centered on merging development and operations to ship software faster and more reliably. It gets misunderstood a lot as just a job title or, a specific set of tools you install, but it's fundamentally a cultural shift. It's all about merging two historically isolated departments: development, the folks writing the code, and operations, the folks running the servers. In the past, a developer would write code, toss it over a proverbial wall to the ops team, and basically say, hey, good luck running this. When it broke, they'd just point fingers at each other. DevOps is the culture that completely destroys that wall to ensure high-quality software gets to users as fast as possible.
And this brilliantly illustrates the day-to-day difference between these career paths. It's pretty stark. Standard software engineering focuses intensely on writing code, creating algorithms, and building the actual features the end user interacts with. But DevOps? The DevOps professional focuses on merging dev and ops for speed, automation, and system reliability. They aren't usually writing the core application itself. Think of it like this. If the software engineers are building a high-speed bullet train, the DevOps engineers are laying down the frictionless tracks. They're building the automated signaling systems and making absolutely sure that train never, ever derails at 300 miles per hour. They build the bridge to get that code safely into the real world.
So, in a fully mature DevOps environment, everything boils down to these core objectives. First, ship software faster, because time to market is literally everything in tech. Second, increase system reliability. It doesn't matter how fast you ship if the system crashes the second customers try to use it, right? And third, break down silos between teams. You're essentially engineering communication and collaboration just as much as you're engineering servers. You want a world where continuous integration and deployment are just the standard way of doing business.
But wait, let's hit pause for just a second here. If we automate everything, if our entire goal is to build automated pipelines, integrate artificial intelligence, and create systems that basically run themselves, are we automating ourselves out of a job? If AI is getting so incredibly good at writing scripts and managing infrastructure, is this career path hitting a dead end? This is probably the most common anxiety in the tech world right now, and we absolutely need to address it head-on.
Which brings us to our next point. AI is an evolution, not an extinction.
Here's the truth to reassure you. AI is transforming the career path into something way more advanced, not wiping it out. The old way was highly reactive. It meant lots of manual scripting, repetitive configuration, literally putting out server fires by hand. But the 2026 way? It's fundamentally different. You're supervising automated systems and providing architectural oversight. Because AI is absorbing all those low-level repetitive tasks, your role elevates. You aren't typing out endless lines of bash scripts to configure one single server anymore. You are the orchestrator. You manage the intelligent tools that manage the infrastructure, which requires a much broader, strategic understanding of the whole ecosystem.
So, the crucial point is that there are irreplaceable human elements that AI simply cannot take over.
First, designing architectures. AI is great at executing a plan, sure, but it completely lacks the business context to design a global, multi-cloud architecture from scratch. Second, deploying those massive systems securely and strategically. And finally, the most important piece of all, maintaining ultimate accountability. When a system goes down and millions of dollars are on the line, well, an AI is terrible at taking the blame in a boardroom meeting. A human still has to hold the keys, understand the holistic design, and be accountable. And honestly, that is exactly why that massive 30 to 50% salary premium exists.
So, what does this all mean for you? We've seen the undeniable demand and the evolutionary shift in what the job actually entails. The only question left is, are you going to let the AI wave wash over you, or are you going to learn to orchestrate it? Up next, in part 2 of this Explainer series, we're covering the exact skill order you need to become that orchestrator. And we'll be starting with the one foundational operating system that almost every single production environment on Earth runs on. You absolutely won't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, let's jump right in. Welcome back to the Explainer. You know, we love taking all this complex industry data and turning it into real actionable blueprints. And I am so pumped you're here today because we're getting incredibly practical. We are continuing our dive into the DevOps Engineer Roadmap for 2026. If you're a focused learner, someone looking to build a genuinely lucrative, resilient career in tech, well, you hit the jackpot. You are in exactly the right place. In part 1, we talked about massive shifts in the industry landscape, right? Today, in part 2, we're building the ultimate career skill blueprint. And we're doing it layer by layer, based entirely on what the current data is actually demanding. So here's our roadmap for today. First up, the AI reality. Then we hit layer 1, Linux fundamentals, followed by layer 2, cloud platforms, and layer 3, the automation toolchain. After that, we'll tackle the certification question, and finally look at what comes next.
All right, section 1, the AI reality. Look, the core message from all our sources is crystal clear. AI supervision absolutely requires solid foundations. Remember in our last explainer, the data showed us that AI isn't here to replace elite DevOps engineers. Nope, it's here to replace the folks doing those basic repetitive tasks. But here's the catch. To be the engineer who actually supervises the AI, the one who catches its weird hallucinations, optimizes its code, and safely deploys it to production, you can't fake it. Rock-solid foundational skills are literally non-negotiable. I mean, think about it. If you don't understand the underlying systems, how on earth can you tell if the AI just made a brilliant optimization or a catastrophic error? You can't.
Moving on to section 2, layer 1, Linux fundamentals. So, how exactly do we build that unbreakable knowledge? Well, we're going to treat it like a high-stakes construction project, which means we start right in the dirt. Our sources brilliantly lay out this exact required sequence. Step 1 is Linux and scripting. Step 2, one cloud platform. And step 3, the automation toolchain. Now, you might be wondering, why this exact order? Why can't I just jump around? Because honestly, trying to learn those fancy automation tools before you actually understand the operating system they run on, it's a guaranteed recipe for intense burnout. The data shows us that engineers who skip straight to step 3 just end up completely lost the second something breaks in production. We're building genuine competency here, guys, and that requires stacking these skills in this precise sequence. Zooming in on step 1. This is the absolute bedrock of layer 1. We're talking command line mastery, system permissions, and process management. Basically, your Linux and scripting foundation. You've got to be incredibly comfortable navigating a terminal without relying on a graphical user interface. You also really need to know how users and permissions interact because, let's face it, security is everything. And you absolutely must understand how processes start, stop, and eat up system resources. These aren't just nice-to-haves. These are non-negotiables. If this bedrock has even a tiny crack, the rest of your DevOps house is going to completely collapse under the pressure of a real-world enterprise environment. Okay, section 3, layer 2, cloud platforms. Once that foundation is poured and totally solid, it's time to put up the structural walls of your career. Check out the stark difference in these two approaches, picking one platform for hands-on focus versus trying to learn AWS, Azure, and GCP all at the exact same time. The source data for the US market is incredibly clear on this point. Deep, hands-on mastery of a single platform vastly outweighs having a superficial buzzword-level knowledge of all three. Seriously, don't be a jack of all trades and master of none here. Pick one. Whether it's Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, just pick it and learn its networking, compute, and storage primitives inside and out. The core concepts will transfer later, but that deep technical muscle memory, that only comes from intense, focused repetition on one platform at a time. That brings us to Section 4, Layer 3, the automation toolchain. All right, so we've got our bedrock, we've got our structural walls. Now, we need the plumbing and electrical to actually make the house functional. The automation toolchain is that specialized set of tools that seamlessly integrates your Linux fundamentals with your cloud platforms so you can actually automate your infrastructure. This is the glue right here. This is where the ops in DevOps really gets its superpower. You are no longer manually clicking around in some cloud console. You're using tools to literally command your infrastructure to build itself. In practice, this breaks down into 3 main concepts, each matched to specific technologies. First up is continuous integration and deployment, or CI/CD. This is essentially how you automate the testing and delivery of your software. Next is containerization, which basically packages your applications up so they run identically everywhere, no matter the environment. And finally, infrastructure as code. We've got Terraform highlighted here, which is amazing because it allows you to spin up entire data centers using just a few lines of script. This is the layer that takes your Linux knowledge and your cloud platform and ties them together into this highly automated, hyper-efficient machine. Wait, actually, stop. Stop right there for a second. Are you trying to skip straight to the tools? I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You're looking at Terraform and containers and thinking, yep, that's where the 6-figure salaries are. I'm just going to start right there. Listen to me. If you take only one thing away from this explainer today, please let it be this. Doing that is a massive career mistake. Seriously. If you try to write infrastructure as code without understanding the underlying cloud permissions, or if you try to containerize an app without knowing how Linux processes actually work, you are building a house of cards. Whatever you do, do not skip layers 1 and 2. Moving on to Section 5, the certification question. So, assuming you've respected the sequence and actually put in the sweat equity to build those 3 layers, how do you actually prove to a hiring manager in the US that you possess these skills? Well, the data points clearly lead to 2 massive validators right now, the CKA, which stands for Certified Kubernetes Administrator, and the Terraform certification. Now, these aren't just vanity metrics to stick on your resume. They strictly validate the 2 most in-demand DevOps skills on the market right now, container orchestration and infrastructure as code. When a recruiter sees these specific credentials, it immediately communicates that your knowledge isn't just theoretical. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have hands-on practical ability in the exact technologies running modern enterprise toolchains. And hey, for those of you who chose AWS as your single cloud platform back in Layer 2, this maps out the exact progression recommended by industry data. Step 1 is mastering those foundational cloud skills. Step 2 is targeting the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional certification. Let me tell you, earning a professional level cert in AWS is a massive signal to employers. It proves you can design, operate, and manage complex, highly available systems on literally the world's largest cloud provider. It is the absolute ultimate capstone to your 3-layer foundation. Finally, Section 6. What comes next? Okay, so we've mapped out the entire foundational blueprint, right? From the Linux bedrock all the way up to those professional certifications that actually get you noticed. But, of course, the journey doesn't just stop with a piece of paper. You've got the foundational blueprint now. But what is the realistic timeline? And what exact portfolio projects will prove to a hiring manager that you can actually do this job and not just talk about it? Because getting the skills is only step 1. Showcasing them in a way that makes hiring managers literally fight over you, that's step 2. So how long will this actually take you, and what specifically should you build? Well, that is exactly what we're going to break down in part 3 of this series, where we finally turn this theoretical blueprint into real earning potential. You won't want to miss it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and keep learning.